we get an opportunity to speak to another inductee into this year's Athletics Hall of Fame at Bucknell University. That's Charlie Waddell, class of 2007. Congratulations, Charlie. What a great honor.
Doug, great. Can't believe it. Feels like very short time ago was still back here as a student, and fun to be back and see a bunch of people and play the golf course again and talk to you again.
It was awesome times. I tell you what, you and your group, that group, is particularly the senior class, you guys were so close. Is that why you feel like you and the team as a whole had so much success?
I think so. I mean, we came in, we had 5 guys come in. That's a big recruiting class for a college golf team made up of 10 players. And I think we all obviously loved golf. We loved competing, but we shared a lot of interests outside. We were all just kind of sports junkies in general. We all sort of came from different areas and had our home teams. And then, just to be able to create those friendships through the competition and everything, I think was pretty neat. Yeah.
And you came at the height of the basketball craze, and you guys were right there front and center for all of it, weren't you?
Yeah, like I said, we were all just such big sports fans, and we got there. We were there. Our freshman year was 03-04 season, and then we were there in 04-05 when I think the really sort of made an impact there, and it was great. We loved going to the games. We loved everything that happened before and after the games, and they were just such a likable group of guys on the basketball team, and it made the winter in Lewisburg also a little bit more fun when you could look forward to a Wednesday night tip. So yeah, it was great, just great fun, and so many great memories. Really through those teams in 05, 06, it was just awesome, great time.
And a great time with your classmates, not only on the golf team, but just other friends that you had here. This is a tight-knit community here at Bucknell, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you get, 3,800 kids here in Lewisburg, and everyone sort of has the same goals in mind, and it's just great. And I think the culture of the school is something that's so unique, especially in this day and age when I feel like liberal arts education is really sort of separating itself in terms of the value proposition it has. But yeah, the whole sort of campus and the whole ethos that we had back in the early 2000s was something I think was pretty special.
Was that special, that unique aspect of Bucknell? Is that what drew you to not only come to school here but to play golf here?
Yeah, well, I have a little bit of a lineage here. My great-grandfather was class of 1920, and then my grandfather was class of 1950, so I'd always known about Bucknell. My grandfather actually didn't want me to go here because he thought walking up and down the hill was too strenuous. I just came from it. I met Coach Cotter. He was in his second year, and he really sort of had a roadmap that he wanted to follow that I had total buy-in for. And then you get a golf course that's on campus, which is, in our sport, huge. I mean, imagine if you had to drive 45 minutes to go to basketball practice or go to football practice. Like, that's what a lot of teams have to do. So having that course here and just the whole campus and everything it's laid out so perfectly that it was an easy fit and ended up being a great 4 years. So happy about that.
A great 4 years, record-breaking 4 years, 4-year Patriot League, all Patriot League member, back-to-back winner individually of the Patriot League championship. Talk about that. Did you get to a point in your mind going in saying, I'm going to be the guy to beat?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Because coming in, I was not like a junior world beater golfer. I was a good junior golfer. I knew what I needed to do to work on my game and get better. And I am very goal-oriented, so, freshman year was sort of very simple goals, playing every event, whatever the scoring average was. But then coming back sophomore year, I really thought that I'd worked really hard that summer on my game, turned a couple weaknesses into strengths, and thought that, okay, like, this is a year I could play really well. And it took a long time. I think I had like 3 or 4 second-place finishes individually. Our team was awesome. I mean, we were so good. And then it all kind of clicked at the Patriot League Championship, which we were hosting. And then junior year, I came back. I had a really good amateur summer in between sophomore and junior year, and thought, like, these next 2 years, you could probably do something pretty special. But just kept working at it and working really hard. Had great teammates. Everyone was really good. So it's like you kind of knew if you were slacking off, you were going to get passed. But yeah, it was great. I mean, it's like It's just hard to look back and think like, oh, you were a good college player. Like I still don't think about myself as a good player.
But you were a great player. You mentioned about some of the things you worked on. Where did you feel like your strengths lied?
Well, so it really all comes back to Jim Cotner, because Jim, and I'm going to talk about this tonight, like to Jim, like simple golf is good golf, right? And a lot of times he'd say, well, just hit this shot into the middle of the green, 2-putt, and make your par. Like, what are you trying to do to fire at this back flagstick? And I'm like, but I can do it, you know? And he's like, but you don't have to. So really his, sort of buying into his methodology over the course of 4 years of simplifying your game, hitting fairways, hitting greens, not short-siding yourself, getting out with a good par, those things add up, and they add up over a 3-round tournament, over 12 tournaments a year. And I think that's just sort of like simplification over the course of 4 years was key.
And you were back-to-back, as we said, individual medal winner. Going into the final day, both your sophomore and junior year, what was the pressure like?
Yeah, sophomore year it was there was like 4 or 5 guys that were within 2 shots of the lead, I think. So that was like a total horse race, and it was kind of be last man standing. I was actually lucky because we were in the last group, so everyone else had already posted. So with 3 holes left, you kind of knew, and made 2 good birdies coming down the stretch to win by 1. And then junior year was a little different. Junior year I came in and I was playing just really well, and I over the course of 54 holes, didn't miss too many shots and ended up lucky enough to win by a fair amount. So that was not too much pressure there.
Not too much. And that made you feel good, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that was fun. The conditions were really tough. That was at Navy, which is a great, very historic golf course. And that was probably the best, consecutive stretch of 54 holes I've probably ever played still to this day. So, yeah.
And yet, individually, yes, you want to do well, but as a team, you guys won 2 Patriot League titles. That probably means even more to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, whereas like college golf is really weird, right? Because you're playing as an individual, right? But you have this individual competition, but you also have this team competition, and you could be a great individual on a kind of mediocre team, and it's like, okay, that's fine. But we had sort of all the cylinders pumping on the engine, which was great. But our team was interesting in the sense that we had 3 really solid guys, and we had all this sort of internal competition to get those last spots, which made playing and practicing together stressful at the time. But looking back at it, I think like people probably developed some pretty good competitive habits and competitive traits, because nobody wants to be sitting at home when everyone else is traveling. So it was a great dynamic, really good.
Once you graduated, you decided to try your hand at pro golf. Mm-hmm. How tough was that?
It was tough. It was the golf was the golf. The lifestyle was really hard. I mean, professional golf, there's no home game, right? It's not like another sport. If you're a professional hockey player, you're playing 41 games at home every year. So that was really tough. But at the same time, I did it for 3 years. I thought it was spectacular. You grow up quickly. You're out there. You're traveling by yourself. You're seeing parts of the country that you probably growing up in Chicago, coming to Bucknell, probably never thought you'd really see. But it was really fun. I wouldn't trade it for anything, and made lifelong friends who are now going on to do great things on the professional golf scene. But it's been great. So.
And then, of course, after that run, that 3-year run, you decided to get back into the amateur circuit. Yeah. How has that been going? Pretty well right now.
Yeah, no, I've been very lucky to continue playing high-end amateur golf. I'm 33 years old now, so I'm now mid-am, over 25. And it's been great. I've played in, I think, like 9 or 10 USGA championships over the past 4 or 5 years, a couple US amateurs. And those are great because you kind of like are looking back in time, because like the USAM is like 90% college kids. So you're looking at all these great college kids, and they're all so good. So that's fun to have access to those kids for a couple of weeks a year and see how they've hit it and how far they hit it and whatnot. But yeah, I love continuing to compete. Like I just love that whole aspect of it, and I think it's really quite fun. So
we caught up with you on the golf course. What about your life off the golf course? Yeah. What's Charlie Waddell doing right now off the golf course?
So back in 2013, I got my MBA from Northwestern, which was a great experience. Fun to be sort of back home in Chicago and do that. And then in 2014, a buddy of mine and I, we started a company doing corporate consulting all around retirement structures. So companies will hire us to consult on a pension or a 401k or a 403b, and it's sort of this very narrow look at it, but we do a deep dive and very comprehensive. So it's been really fun. It's knock on wood, we've had a lot of sort of tailwinds that have led to some success. So it's been good.
And before we let you go, have you had much of an opportunity to come back to the Bucknell campus, or is this the first in a long time?
This will be my third trip back. Came back for Jim Cotner's retirement, which was in 2014. Came back last year for the 10-year reunion, which is quite fun. And now back for this. The campus has changed so much. I mean, the whole west side of the campus, that was cornfields. And then obviously the Bachman Center at the golf course. Kind of in the middle of I'm jealous that I wasn't there, but I'm also semi-proud because I think we had really good teams that built some momentum for the program that kind of put it on the map to get something like that on campus. And I think that's just such a huge asset for the university and specifically for the golf team.
Well, you were a big part of it, you and your classmates.
Yeah.
So congratulations on this honor, but congratulations for setting a legacy that's going to be really years and years down the road people are going to look back on Charlie Waddell and that great group of golfers. Congrats there,
Doug,
Charlie.
thanks a lot. Great to be with you again.
All right.
Absolutely. Love tuning in and hearing you.
Charlie Waddell, one of the best guys ever, and definitely one of the inductees in this year's Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame class.